then the aspect of pre-election threats multiplier, where we have heightened political activities and the spread of disinformation. And actually they come right into where you are guarding. So think about them and how some of the elements can exploit those political aspects. We have seen MPs fighting in the compounds of the parliament. How do you react to that? What if their security is running and these are security, they are not police? What happens? Do you have the mandate to arrest them? And maybe the police are not near. We need to think about that. I'm putting those questions because there's something I want us to think about. So please carry them with you as I put them across to you. Now, what is the required response to this? We need a comprehensive security paradigm. We need to recognize that threats, disinformation, and borderless cybercrime are real, and they're here with us. So we must think. The implication here is that the Serjeant at Arms needs an integrated security paradigm, critically, which means the Serjeant at Arms security personnel must be equipped with new, broader skill sets. And this is not about investing in people who protect this institution and through. I mean, this is not about upgrading the infrastructure, but training, investing in training of the Serjeant at Arms. The people who are involved, we can put all the best infrastructures, all the best cameras, all the best computers that there can be, but we need the skills of human beings. And this is what I'm saying. We need on how to invest on Serjeant at Arms who protect these institutions through rigorous, modernized training. Again, we need to recalibrate the security mandate. We need to develop a dedicated framework that distinguishes parliamentary security from general policing. I don't know whether you have understood me there. These are proposals we are making, that there is need for a dedicated registrative. When I say registrative here, sorry, I missed the word Serjeant at Arms. We need a dedicated Serjeant at Arms protection framework. And when I talk about framework here, I'm talking about legal framework that distinguishes parliamentary security from general policing. Remember what the Speaker Emeritus talked about yesterday. The policeman has no powers in that space of the parliament. He cannot arrest an MP. But the question is, do you have the powers? What if the guy has behaved in, is causing threat to others? What happens? Do you have the powers? Who guards the guardian? Then there's an aspect of enhancing intelligence and risk assessment. Now, here, I don't want to call it intelligence, but because I'm a military person, you'll allow me, I would call it information. I know even in UN, we use information, not intelligence, because intelligence has a bigger connotation, and it is oriented to the military. So let's use the word information, enhancing information and risk assessment, where we're looking at, we need to establish a dedicated register. What I mean by this is, in 2024, although these guys were protesting and we did not have a way of communicating with them or even negotiating or mediating with them, we would have had people to tell us, this is where they are, and they are coming. They are this number of kilometers away from the parliament. You guys prepare. They might break into the parliament. From what they are saying, this is what they are saying, they are likely to get into the parliament. Tell the MPs, because you secure the people inside there, you secure information. You secure, in fact, it was an impromptu thing. It has never happened before. Normally in the military we say we provide security in depth. When you say we provide security in depth, we normally say there is normally the inner core, and I use the National Assembly. If you look at the inner core of what is inside there, the people, the infrastructures, you know, the computers, everybody who is in there, very key. That is the inner core of the parliament. Look at the parliament perimeter fence. It is a second defense line. But you need to have a third defense line where you gather information. Who is out there? Whom for, with information gathering, it will be possible for you to know, to have a early warning in this aspect. So, again, we need to institutionalize public engagement. Now, yesterday you had also the Speaker Emeritus talk about getting involved with the society. And I think a question was also put across by a doctor who was talking about the issues of psychology. The issues of psychology, of do we have an impact of the institutions around whether the society can be able to identify itself with that institution? You know, do they know what happens in there? We are in Lanet, National Defense University, headquarters in Lanet. But how does Lanet people of Nakuru, how do they view us as an institution? Do we have any impact on them? This is the thing. In a way, and I'll borrow from where I'm coming from. You have heard whenever, by sharing the little medicine that the unit has been given, or by providing water. I know I've been involved in Kajiado training troops there for many years. And every time I will go there, my water bowser would provide water even to the animal, not only people. It would provide water to the people. When assuming we had not gotten closer to them, what happens? We need to think about that. Now, again, we need to think about accountability and oversight mechanism to by formulating a robust accountability framework that the Sergeant at Arms must establish transparent protocols for use of force during protest. Remember what I talked about, the legal framework, with clear reporting lines to oversight the body. Now, allow me to talk about this policy-oriented recommendation to future-proof the Sergeant at Arms function. And here I'm looking at technological crisis preparedness, where we are talking about dedicated digital threat monitoring units, and we are looking at also the aspects of clear protocols distinguishing legitimate threat detection from unlawful surveillance. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, we have youngsters, and whenever they are moving around their phones, they go taking selfies. you know, and it has become very norm. It has become a norm to our youngsters. But can you differentiate between a youngster who is taking a selfie and a person who is surveying the parliament or the legislative institution? And imminent threat at that moment to the institution or to people or property that is inside there. This is the question we are putting across. Now, on social crisis management, we are looking at developing civil society liaison competencies within the Serjeant at Arms office that enables early warning, detecting or, being able to identify or to get early warning through sustained civil engagement rather than reactive fortification war, which runs on the miles and miles. Guess what? History tells us that when this fortification was built and it was complete, and they said, now we can relax. 1 month, people are inside, and the whole dynasty was cleared. The same one that built that war. We need to know what they're thinking. We need to know they need to know what we are thinking and what we are doing, and we can influence how they think about us. Again, we need to institutionalize human rights compliance, crowd management protocols, because this is a new aspect. Remember, the protest rendered the traditional negotiation frameworks obsolete. As I said, there was nobody to negotiate with. Now, I had one person talk about, I think it's one of the registrators, talk about we need to condone the parliament by having, a no-go zone 100 meters away from the, think twice about that. Because there's likely of exacerbating citizen registrature alienation. And this, very likely, is exactly what one of the causes, if not the real one, that brought out the issue of Gen Z protest. Now, we need to think about also the political crisis framework, where we say you need to seek statutorily protected operational independence for the Serjeant at Arms with clear escalation protocols distinguishing routine protests management from national security threats. If you can be able to distinguish these two, and then there are mechanisms on how you can deal with it, then the better for you. And this is where you might require forces. You must have a way in which you can interlink with these security forces, because you can be able to identify this is a catastrophe that is likely to happen. So I need help. There are mechanisms. So we need to think through that. Again, we need to establish a dedicated legislative security fund. Here we are talking about if you guys had an institution that flows from the National Assembly, the Senate, to the counties. I was trying to 47 counties with the two national legislative houses, and I was seeing, hey, this is a big force. And what came to my mind was, when we were formulating the Constitution, 2010, institutions were told, bring your issues, how you want them captured in the Constitution. Remember, the Constitution is the basic framework or the basic law of the country. But one institution was left out. Very learned, very educated, but they were left out. Who was to think for them? I'm a soldier, I'm not a doctor. You are a sergeant at arms, you are not a doctor. What happened? They were told this is the law. And I remember one of the lawyers in one morning comment in the TV saying, you guys who pretended to be very learned, very educated, why did you come and articulate your issues to be the Constitution so that you have a big body that deals with issues of health nationwide? Now, look at it from that aspect and look at it, it has grown 47 times. Is it 47 or 46? Because now we have registered the Senate. The Senate was not there. Yeah? So, from the National Assembly now to Senate and 47, from the National Assembly now to Senate and 47 counties.